The more you try to control your life, the more anxious you become. Have you ever stopped to notice that? You wake up in the morning with a mental list of everything you need to manage: work, relationships, the future. And the more you try to fit the pieces together, the heavier it gets. There's a voice inside you that says if you just try harder, plan better, anticipate more, you'll finally get that sense of control you've been searching for, but that feeling never comes, does it? Today I'm going to show you why that happens and how to break free from this trap once and for all. There is a place inside you where no storm can reach. And over the next few minutes, we're going to learn how to get there. Picture yourself at the center of a violent storm. The wind is howling, the rain is blinding, and everything around you is being torn apart. Your instinct is to run, to fight the wind, to find shelter, to resist forces you cannot control. But what if I told you that running is exactly what keeps the storm alive? Peace is not found on the other side of the storm, it's found at the center of it. Let that idea settle for a moment. Think about the last time you felt truly overwhelmed, that suffocating weight in your chest, as if the world were a puzzle with missing pieces, and you were desperately trying to force them together. Maybe it was a situation at work that didn't go as planned. Maybe it was a relationship that slipped out of your hands. Maybe it was simply life being bigger than your ability to organize it. And what did you do? Probably what all of us do. You tried to think more, plan more, anticipate more. We spend our days acting like architects of the universe, trying to design other people's behavior, trying to predict the fluctuations of the economy, the market, of love, as if by controlling every variable now we'd finally earn the right to breathe. Look at your hands right now. Notice how tightly you're holding on to nothing. The anxiety you carry isn't a product of a chaotic world. It's the friction caused by your soul trying to stop a planet from spinning. You're standing at the edge of an ocean at midnight, exhausted from pushing the waves back with your bare hands, waiting for the sea to finally learn to be still for you. But the ocean doesn't answer to you, and your exhaustion is the only real thing in this battle. Feel the weight of that. And for a moment, just let your hands fall to your sides. The great irony of the modern mind is that we confuse worry with preparation, as if the more we suffer today, the less suffering the future owes us. Think about that for a second. How many times have you spent hours, maybe entire nights, ruminating over a problem that hadn't even happened yet? Building every possible disaster scenario in your mind, every variation of the worst case, every detail of what could go wrong. And in the end, how many times did what you feared most happen exactly the way you imagined it? Almost never. But the wear and tear was real, the exhaustion was real, the days lost inside your own head were absolutely real. We build mental fortresses of what-ifs and maybes. We decorate the walls with every possible catastrophe, believing that by living in the dark, we'll somehow be immune to being blinded by the light. This is the illusion of control, the seductive lie that says you are responsible for the wind simply because you can feel it blowing against your face. When you try to control external variables, the opinions of strangers, the timing of your achievements, the inevitable changes of life, you're essentially trying to color the sky with a single crayon. It's a pursuit that produces nothing but a broken heart and a cluttered mind. And the cruelest part, it leaves no room for the very peace you claim to be searching for. You're not afraid of chaos itself. You're afraid of the version of you that won't know what to do when things don't go according to plan. And that fear, my friend, is the cage you built for your own spirit. It's time to recognize that the security you seek through control is the greatest insecurity of all. True peace, the kind that doesn't evaporate the moment a problem arises, begins when you realize that the world doesn't need to be fixed for you to be whole. I'll say that again because it matters. The world doesn't need to be fixed for you to be whole. Imagine for a moment that you are no longer the architect trying to control everything. You are the sky, vast, still, present, completely unchanged whether it's holding a summer sun or a winter storm. The sky doesn't fight the clouds, it doesn't try to push them away, it doesn't collapse when the rain comes, it simply remains, larger than any weather that passes through it. And so are you. You just forgot. When you shift your relationship with uncertainty from resistance to curiosity, something subtle begins to happen. The internal noise starts to fade, not because the world got quieter, but because you stopped amplifying it with your struggle. You begin to understand that the chaos out there isn't an intruder. It's just the background music of a living universe, too vast to fit in the palm of your hand. And there is an extraordinary freedom in that realization, because it means you don't need to solve everything to be okay. You don't need all the answers to feel safe. You don't need to wait for life to organize itself before you finally breathe. The silence you've been searching for out there has always lived in here. You just never stopped long enough to hear it. When you release the weight of control, your hands become free to touch the only place where life is actually happening. The present moment. Not the future you fear, not the past you mourn. Here, now, this exact moment. This is the first step on the lucid path, realizing that you don't need a calm world to have a calm mind. And now that your hands are empty, you might feel a strange emptiness. Almost uncomfortable. That's the silence that arrives when the fighting stops. But your mind, accustomed to the noise of the battles you were fighting, will immediately try to fill that space. It will invent new dangers. It will tell you that being at peace means being vulnerable, that letting your guard down is an invitation for disaster. That's the defense mechanism of a mind that spent years believing worry was the same as care. But this is where your journey becomes practical. When chaos starts rising like a high tide, when thoughts begin flooding the windows of your soul, you don't need a new defense strategy. You need an anchor. This anchor isn't made of iron, it's made of awareness. While your mind travels to catastrophic futures, your body always lives in the present. Always. No matter where your thoughts are, your body is here, breathing, feeling, alive, in this exact moment. And that is enough to begin, so use your body as the doorway. Do this now as you listen to me. Feel the weight of your feet against the ground. Don't think about it. Feel it. The pressure of gravity connecting you to the earth, the fabric of your clothes against your skin, the weight of your own body existing in this space, in this moment. Now, the air coming through your nostrils, cool and refreshing, leaving warm, carried by the fire of the life that burns inside you. This is not a relaxation exercise, it's a biological command you send to your nervous system, a silent declaration that says, whatever my imagination is telling me, I am safe, here and now. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one, but it always responds to the body, always. And when you anchor your attention in the physical, you literally interrupt the anxiety cycle at the biological level. Now look around and find 3 things you can see, 2 you can touch, 1 you can hear. You just pulled your mind's attention away from the grip of chaos and returned it to the only reality you can actually transform. The beauty of this anchor is that it doesn't require the world to change. It doesn't require the problem to disappear. It doesn't require you to have all the answers. It only requires you to come home to yourself. When you practice this deliberately, not just in moments of crisis, but as a daily habit, you begin to notice that chaos is made of layers, and the most surface layer is just noise, without real substance to hurt you. You become like the base of an ancient mountain. Clouds may hide your summit, Winds may batter your slopes, snow may cover your trails, but the essence of the mountain remains still, rooted in the depths of the earth. This stability isn't something you build from scratch. It's something you discover was already there, just buried beneath the weight of worries you carried out of habit. You are no longer at the mercy of the storm. You have become the safe harbor your mind was always searching for. As you become this anchor, you begin to see a truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Chaos was never a detour. It was the necessary fuel for your ascension. Let that land. There is a sacred alchemy in allowing difficulties to shape you instead of break you. Think about coal. Under unbearable pressure and suffocating heat, it doesn't complain about the weight of the world. It doesn't try to escape the pressure. It doesn't negotiate with the heat. It simply allows. And that allowance, that act of not resisting the process, is what reorganizes its very essence until it becomes a diamond. You are in that exact process right now. Every sleepless night, every doubt that hit you at 3 in the morning, every moment when you felt the ground giving way beneath your feet. Those were not signs of defeat. They were the sculptor's hammer, removing the excess marble, revealing the masterpiece you were always meant to be. Chaos is not happening to you. It is happening for you. This shift in perspective, from victim to student, is one of the most powerful a human being can make, because it transforms every adversity into data, every fall into information, every pain into direction. It doesn't mean it will hurt less. It means the pain will have a purpose, and a pain with purpose is completely different from suffering without meaning. The first moves you forward, the second keeps you paralyzed. You are being shaped to carry a level of peace and clarity that the old version of you could never have sustained, because that old version still believed it needed a perfect world to be happy. You are learning that you don't. Picture an elite pilot facing severe turbulence in the middle of a storm that seems to have no end. The amateur pilot fights the controls, clenches his jaw, panics, sees the wind as a deadly enemy that must be defeated. But the master pilot knows that violent wind is what generates lift. It's what makes the wings work. It's what makes the plane rise. Without air resistance, there is no flight. The turbulence you face today is life asking, are you ready to fly at higher altitudes? Feel the excitement of that. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are the commander of an extraordinary journey, one that demands courage, presence, and an unshakable faith in your own power to navigate. Every challenge you overcome is building a spiritual muscle that no one can take from you, an inner authority, a groundedness that doesn't depend on external approval, favorable conditions, luck, or perfect timing. That authority only belongs to those who had the courage to walk through fire and discovered they were made of something fire cannot burn. You are being shaped to carry a level of success and peace that the old version of you could never have held, because that old version still needed the world to be a certain way to feel whole. You don't need that anymore. You are the safe harbor. You are the stillness at the center of the hurricane. You are the mountain that remains while the storms pass. And for the first time, you are walking through life with your eyes wide open. As you leave this video, don't look at your problems through yesterday's eyes. Look at them with the clarity of someone who knows the game has changed. The hope you feel right now is not a childish wish for things to get easy. It's the adult confidence of knowing you have become strong enough to handle whatever life brings. You don't need to wait for the next crisis to practice the anchor. Start today. Start now. 3 intentional breaths, feet on the ground, air in your lungs. Do that every day. And in 3 weeks, you'll look back and barely recognize the person you were before. You are the safe harbor. You are the stillness at the center of the hurricane. You are living proof that lucidity is a choice made with every breath, every step taken toward your purpose. In the comments, tell me, what was the greatest chaos in your life that ended up transforming you? And if you are ready to stop merely surviving the chaos and start using it as the wind beneath your wings, write it here. I am the stillness. The Lucid Path journey has only just begun, and the horizon has never looked more promising for someone who has finally learned to be the master of their own peace.